Rurok is inspired by the trails and riders of the Philippine Islands. At our core, we believe that bikes should get better, move forward, progress, just as the rider gets better. We wanted to make a bike that gives the rider this feeling of invincibility, a bike that does not hold the rider back. It's essential for a company like us who's into performance bikes to have our own race team. With the inputs we get from our race team, that has greatly shaped the way we make our bikes. I'm PJ Tolentino and I'm the founder of Rurok Industries. Accurate drawings are important because being a very high-performance, competitive frame builder, people push our bikes to the limit. Everything has to be exact, everything has to be precise to our designs. Rurok chose Solid Edge with Synchronous Technology because it's a much more intuitive way of turning the ideas in our heads into a physical, manufacturable object. This is a much easier process, it's a quicker process, and it's a much more optimized design. So with generative design, using the optimization techniques, we were able to create parts that are 50% stiffer at the same weight versus our old products. The impact of Solid Edge on our business is definitely the reduced engineering costs because we do it in much less time and we do much less number of prototypes. All of our designs are in Synchronous Technology. We have moved on from the old way of using ordered parameters. It's a much faster way of turning our ideas into reality. Our goals for the future is just to keep making better bikes.
Hi, and welcome everyone. I want to talk to you about digital transformation. You heard Tony talk about this, and there's a lot of good things to learn there. I want to take you through some practical steps for how you can apply digital transformation to your business. I want to start with a question. So where can digital transformation take you? How can you make your company more profitable and more productive through digital transformation? And it really starts with these three areas, but these three areas have really been distinct. There's the notion of design, of course, where you spend most of your time designing the product. There's realization, whether you're doing additive or subtractive manufacturing, assembly, those kind of things. And there's optimization, where you've got the product in the field, you're getting feedback from the product, and you're improving your product. Typically, this is a very long cycle, right? Between when you design, you manufacture or realize, and you end up optimizing the product. Probably a little later down the line. And what's happening though, that I think is really exciting, is that this is collapsing, right? So it's no longer three distinct things, it's becoming one thing, right? The comprehensive digital twin encompasses design, manufacture, and optimization. And we're seeing these things very tightly coupled. So in other words, you're able to get information back from the field and put that into the design and manufacture process and much more quickly produce better products. And it all starts with Xcelerator: design, realize, optimize. It's not just about mechanical, it's about electronics, simulation, manufacturing, even IoT. It's the catalyst for the digital enterprise. At the core of this is Solid Edge. So mechanical design, yes, very deep, very thorough, very productive, best in class. But we also have electrical design, simulation, manufacturing. Whatever you need to drive your digital enterprise is available to you in the Solid Edge portfolio. Even things like technical publications, leveraging all that data that you've produced over the years, managing all that data effectively with data management, and cloud-based collaboration for the distributed enterprises that we have today. There's a lot of opportunities over the next 2 days for you to learn about this. So for example, today there's things on model-based definition. How do you drive intelligence into that 3D model that you've created? Synchronous technology, very powerful technology. Leverage it, use it, learn about it. Mechanical design tips and techniques, that's traditionally a very popular session. Just the little things that make you more productive in your day-to-day work. And of course, tomorrow then, there's many other things. Cloud collaboration for Solid Edge and NX. We're going to touch on that today, but you'll get a lot more tomorrow. Cutting-edge manufacturing technologies, intelligent wiring, and state-of-the-art assembly modeling, always a favorite. We see companies of all sizes taking advantage of digital transformation. A great example of this is WashTec. So WashTec is actually a fairly small company, just started a few years ago. And they've already made a lot of digital transformation in their mechanical sector and seeing great benefits. But they're also adopting the wiring tools, so faster wiring design, faster wiring assembly, and lower testing costs as well. So really starting to reap the benefits of digital transformation. A little later today, we'll hear from Rorik Industries. So they are already in the middle of their digital transformation, fully embraced it, seeing weight reduction, improved stiffness, faster development times. But I'll let PJ tell you about that in just a few minutes. So it's great to see these companies in the middle of their digital transformation. But there's companies all over the world doing this, companies you probably haven't heard of. Hero Lab, Radio Bro Corporation, Craftblock, Momentum Vans. These are all small companies that will be big companies someday. And it goes way beyond them. The Solid Edge Startup Program. In over 40 countries, over 2,100 participants. These are the companies today that may be small, but they're going to be the big companies of tomorrow. So watch this space. And it's great to see the impact beyond just startups. Right? If you go into the university setting, people are using Solid Edge, not just for commercial purposes, but to really change the world. Think about this program here at the University of Alabama, where they had a contest for designing a wheelchair for a 2-year-old. Not something you can really buy off the shelf. Multiple teams competed, and they had some amazing designs. But what if we even look more globally? Engineering for Change and Innovate for Impact, a new program where Siemens is sponsoring programs to investigate solutions for impacting world hunger and the shortage of water. And we're using Solid Edge as the core of that to make an impact on the world. And I invite you to learn more about this and become involved with it. So how can we empower digital transformation? How can we help you achieve digital transformation in your business? Well, it starts at the core here with next generation design. And at the core is synchronous technology, the ability to design more quickly and flexibly. So we've introduced synchronous technology a few years ago. But let me explain a little bit to you. If you haven't looked at it lately, I'd suggest you look at it again. It's a history-free approach that allows you to design, but without all the constraints of history-based modeling. All of us know that you've had your history tree break, you've had some difficulty in terms of the compute time. These are things we want to avoid and eliminate. And synchronous technology eliminates this and allows you to do fast changes anytime in the design process. One of the reasons this is really important, I know that some people are using synchronous technology just for importing parts and making modifications to them, and that's a great use for it. But really, when you integrate it into your design process is when you can really get productivity. And the reason for this is that design is not linear, right? Design is a series of dead ends and roadblocks and changing your mind. Anytime you have a design that you think of in your head and just execute, it's probably not the best design. It takes iteration. So design being nonlinear, what should we do about that? If you look at the picture you see here, the upper left and the lower right, suppose you're working on a jack stand and you think, I have a more productive way to do this. I have a way I can do this with stamped metal. How many of you history-based modelers would take what's on the left and turn it into what's on the right? I would say 0, and I wouldn't either, because it would just be too hard. I would just start over. Everyone would start over. But what if I told you that you could actually do that? Take it from design A to design B in less than 2 minutes. Well, I think if I were you, what I would probably say is I don't believe you. So I'd like to take you through that process, actually. So here we go. What you're going to see is us changing the jack stand from design A to design B, and you're going to see it happen in less than 2 minutes. Now we sped up the video a little bit just for time purposes here on this presentation, but the clock in the lower right is actual real time. And what you see is we can quickly use the steering wheel to firm up the design. It's already starting to take shape and look quite a bit different from the original design. We actually want a round shaft instead of the square. Easily done. We need to soften up the corners a little bit. This is a stamped sheet metal part. Easily done. And we're going to make it a little bit taller. We're also going to hollow out the sides. We can do that very easily by offsetting. And so we'll offset a couple of the edges. We'll round those up a little bit. And how easy is it to pattern around? Well, super easy. So let's just select what we want to pattern. We'll hit pattern and go. Now what you're going to see in a second here, it goes very fast. You're going to see 2 parts edited at once. We're going to make the jack stand and the red part a little bit taller all at one time. And all in 1 minute and 52 seconds. So you see at the core of all that is synchronous technology and design in general, the core solid modeling you do every day. But around the periphery, next generation design, some very important technologies emerging. Generative design, reverse engineering, augmented reality, additive manufacturing, all of these brought to you directly in Solid Edge. And I want to talk about how we enable that. So first of all, what are they? What is generative design? It's an amazing technology where we use techniques like finite element analysis, where you put on the constraints and the loads, but then the system figures out for you the part. It does all the heavy lifting. It figures out how to make the lightest weight part possible with the least material. Reverse engineering. You're actually really making a digital twin here, right? You're taking something physical in the world and you're turning it into something digital. We have some great tools for that we'll talk about. Augmented reality. Taking your digital design and integrating it directly into the physical environment. You can actually see your design in the physical environment through the lens of your iPad. And additive manufacturing. So this is going beyond prototyping these days. We're all used to thinking of additive manufacturing as being a prototyping tool, a way to create early prototypes. But here we're talking about manufacturing to scale using additive manufacturing. It's a whole different world. All right, so the interesting thing about this is that at the center of this is your design. Your design uses something called a BREP model. So a BREP model is the solid model, right? But what happens on the outside circles is a mesh model. It's a different kind of representation. So generative design, reverse engineering, additive, they all use mesh models, which are just a set of triangles that are stitched together in some way. So it's really a different technology between what's used for solid modeling and what's used for mesh modeling. And as a result of this, these have been two different worlds, two different tool sets, completely different. Until now, we've invented a technology called Convergent Modeling that's unique to Siemens. And what it allows us to do is uniquely tie together the mesh modeling and the solid modeling in a way that's completely transparent to the user. So you really won't have any idea whether you're working with a mesh model or you're working with a solid model. It all ties together perfectly. So let's take a look at how that works in practice. We're working here with a torque testing machine for bottle caps. And we have a part that we want to lightweight. So we want to take this part and let the system do the heavy lifting. We put on some loads, we put on some constraints, and we let the system figure out the rest. Look at how the part is done in sort of an organic way. It may even have struts if it's a much lighter weight part, or we can say we want to manufacture it on a 2.5 machine, and then you'll be able to get that part generated for you. Now, the part itself is just a bag of triangles, if you will, a mesh model. And so how intelligent is that? What can we do with it? Well, we've made it intelligent. We automatically recognize, for example, planar regions in yellow, or in cyan, we recognize these circular regions. So we can start to use it in our design as if it was a real solid model. We're able to mate it, as you see here, so mate some surfaces, align some surfaces, integrate it into our assembly. But what if we make some modifications to it now? We need to cut some holes. Well, you can look at this and say, well, that's not very interesting. They're cutting holes. I could do that today. But what's easy to forget is this is not a solid model, it's a mesh model, and what you're seeing is unique to Siemens. Let's take another example, in this case something from reverse engineering. We have a bottle, and we need to put it into the cap holder. We've scanned in the bottle, and the scan is perfect. It even includes the label or the serial number. So we'll use some of our tools to get rid of that. We'll simply delete it out and refill that hole. Simple, easy. Now, we want to actually use that to shape other parts. So we can use the mesh model to do a difference operation to get the exact shape we need to hold the bottle in place. Maybe apply a material, and then let's, again, assemble this in. Maybe a mate, couple of aligns, and it'll just snap right into place. Again, the design is not done at that point. You need to actually use your tools to be able to take it to the next level. And so we're able to, for example, extrude the model. We're able to even place rounds on the model. This is something you'll see nowhere else. So it's a mesh model. You're just using the rounding command you always use, and it magically applies the round to the part. Even synchronous technology works with convergent modeling. So it's all tied together in one comprehensive system that will simply make you more productive in your digital transformation. And so what you saw there, I hope you think is pretty amazing. And what's pretty amazing about it is it's just like doing your day-to-day work. It's like you're doing solid modeling, but you're actually using mesh models. They're fully integrated with the solid models. It's very difficult to tell the difference which technology you're working with. So whether you're working with the solid model in the center or the mesh models on the outside rings, they're fully integrated together through the magic of convergent modeling. And we're never done innovating. So what you've seen with next generation technology is just the beginning. we're going to continue to bring you the tools you need to execute your digital transformation. And so coming this summer is Solid Edge 2021. We're not quite ready to talk about it now, but I'd like to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, just a couple little things that are coming. There's so much to it you can't imagine, and I invite you to join us for the launch in July. But right now I'd like to introduce Laura Watson. Laura Watson's our Manager of Testing and Release Management. So she has the opportunity to work with our beta customers, and her team tests the software. She's got a lot of great insights. But let's take a look at a couple little things with Laura.
Thanks, Dan. I've worked with Solid Edge beta customers for well over 20 years. The Solid Edge 2021 beta customers had a lot of great things to say about the release. Let's check it out. Ricardo says it's the best Solid Edge update in years. He calls it a major update. Jason talks about how all the new features are really going to impact the way they model their parts in Solid Edge. He says it's a very strong release. I can't tell you about all the features coming in Solid Edge 2021 today, but I want to tell you about a couple. Let's take a look at the ActiveFry air fryer from Solid Edge customer group SEB. With traditional modeling, it'd take a couple of days to create such a complex model and 137 features. If you're like most people, you shy away from creating such complex designs due to the specialized skill set that's required and the time and the effort. But with Solid Edge 2021, we have a tool that's going to help anyone to model these type parts very easily. Let me introduce Subdivision Modeling. Subdivision modeling automates the creation of stylized surfaces. It removes design barriers, allowing those without expert knowledge to create such unique shapes. Subdivision modeling is based on technology that originated in the entertainment industry but was adapted to suit the needs of manufacturers. Subdivision modeling opens a whole new way to rapidly conceptualize ideas. I want to model the handle in this portable controller. Let me show you how. So I start with some sketches I received from my industrial designer. Now I'm going to start with a polygonal cage to model the handle. By continuously manipulating and subdividing the cages, I have more control over the handle. The more cages I have, the more control I have over the shape of the model. Now I want to add some grips to the handle, so I simply lift 3 of the cages, and then I blend the surface to a nice shape I'm looking for. So just like that, I've created the handle for my portable controller. And that's just a brief example of how we can use subdivision modeling. You'll learn more in our upcoming launch. Now I'd like to tell you about Adaptive User Interface. Adaptive UI is an AI-based personalized assistant that allows you to optimize your workflows and improve your productivity. Adaptive UI remembers how you use Solid Edge and tries to predict what commands you might need next in your model by giving you a choice of 10 different commands. Also, the learned data model can be shared with other users so that novice users can learn the workflows from the experts quickly. Here's what a few of the folks in the industry had to say about this technology. Adaptive UI changed the future of 3D design software. Integrated machine learning and artificial intelligence offers the benefits of speed, power, efficiency, and intelligence through learning. So those are just 2 of the features coming in Solid Edge 2021. I want to remind you of our upcoming virtual launch on July the 15th. Mark your calendars and come back to learn more about these 2 features and all the other enhancements coming in Solid Edge 2021. Speaking of new products, we have a whole new app to tell you about. Let me introduce Oliver Duncan, who's going to tell you all about our new app.
Thanks, Laura. Yeah, so really excited to introduce next generation cloud collaboration. And actually heard about this briefly from Tony on the virtual main stage session. He talked about these 2 new offerings, Teamcenter Share and Teamcenter X. And here we're talking about Teamcenter Share. This is cloud-based, design-centric project collaboration. So for those of you who use more generic cloud storage solutions or network hard drives, then listen up, because this one is for you. So Teamcenter Share arrives later this summer, 2020. It allows you to synchronize your files with ample cloud storage in the background while you work, and this is any common file type, not just design data, but any project work, PowerPoints, Word files, PDFs. For the CAD data that you do have uploaded into cloud storage, you can view this in 3D. You can take measurements, you can provide feedback through markups, all in a browser interface, which means it will work on any device. You can securely share projects with anyone you like. Simply type in the email address of the person that you want to share with and let the app do the rest of the work. And then finally, Augmented Reality, a really engaging way to review that mechanical CAD data. You can superimpose that CAD data on its intended physical environment, or through a camera lens of your smartphone, your tablet. No specific augmented reality kit needed there. So let's talk about some more use cases. So communication is the first one. This is really the main one. So either in person, either on your tablet, your phone, and being able to show in a nice, easy to use environment technical communication items such as maybe how this thing goes together, how a product goes together, maybe manufacturing features that you want to talk about. Or it could be communicating remotely, being able to share that information to someone in a different geography, which is probably more relevant in today's current situation. Collaboration. So yeah, you can think about this as really a network drive, but without the downside of having to set up a network drive. So no costs of the infrastructure, the IT systems involved with having that drive there. You can just simply save to this and have your team work from this single source of truth. The ability to view any CAD data. So we recognize that customers work in a multi-CAD world. So the ability to view any common CAD format is here to help you. So whether that be NX or Solid Edge from Siemens, it could be SolidWorks, Inventor, CATIA, other formats, it will work with those too. Prototyping in augmented reality. So you may currently today use things like photorealistic renders to try and get an understanding of what a product will look like in its intended environment. Well, this is really the next generation. You can get that CAD model live right in front of you in its intended environment, all through just a common smartphone or tablet. Really exciting stuff. Backing up, so I talked about it's not just CAD data here, it's general project work, and you can get any key project work, store that in secure cloud storage. Tracking issues in 3D, so whether that be potential manufacturing issues, design feedback items, you can redline directly in the 3D space, and you can then communicate back and forth about these. It could even be positive sales criteria or sales features that you want your salesperson to talk to the customer about. Also, again, just embedded in that 3D space. Showcasing. So we work with a lot of startups, and we recognize that a potential investment conversation may pop up at any time. And the ability to pull your phone out of your pocket and have your portfolio of products ready to hand to support your elevator pitch can really be priceless. All right, that's enough of PowerPoint. Let's jump in and see what this app looks like in action. So as I mentioned, it's browser-based, so it'll work on Chromebook, Mac, PC, iPhone, Android, whatever you have. And it works with all common CAD file types, so it supports a multi-CAD world. And it's got this great interactive assistant to guide you through the capability of the app. So while we believe browser-based is great for instant on, we really believe about instant productivity, and that's what this assistant is all about. So it's guiding you hand in hand, step by step, over creating a project here, maybe agreeing on a due date with your team, all the way through to how do I upload data into the browser, and you can pull that interactive assistant up at any time. So here we just dragged and dropped files into the browser. That's one way of uploading data. We'll talk about the synchronization in a second. And for any of that data that is CAD data, you can then view that in 3D, and that's what you see here. So the ability to hide and show components, the ability to explode automatically that assembly view. So there's no pre-setup required here. All you need to do is drag a slider bar and to understand the makeup of the assembly. If you want to do section views or cutaway views, that's also available in this interface. And we've intentionally made this interface as simple as possible to use. So you don't need to be technical in a technical role to be able to understand the interface and operate it. Anyone in the company can get to grips with this. You can take measurements at any point on your model, and if you need to change the units of those measurements, you can do that on the fly. And then we talked about markup, the ability to provide feedback in a design review, or point out, potential manufacturing issues, or maybe point out positive items or features of the product that you want your salesperson to talk about. And you can do that simply by dragging shapes over the model, or you can use a stylus, for example, to do a freeform shape and highlight an area. You can type in text annotations and then save all of that as a markup. It gets stored in the Pathfinder on the right-hand side. It stores who made that markup, when it was made, and so you can start to have a conversation back and forth on the feedback of the design. And of course, it will spin the model back around, take you back to that annotation. So within the projects here, we've got another project, and we're going to get data into this project using the synchronization method. So here the project's represented as a folder on our desktop, and any files that we put into that folder will then get synchronized into the cloud storage. And you could even just save into that folder. It would work the same way. That data would get into this cloud storage. All right, the next thing to talk about is, as the name suggests, sharing. So here we simply type in the person that we want to share using their email address. That person will get an email notification of this project. Along the way, you can choose the access level that you want to give them. For example, do you want to be able to provide them download access or just view-only access, really protecting your intellectual property. And then finally, augmented reality, really engaging way to understand designs. So here you can see that you just grab your phone, it's scanning in the surfaces of where it could put your product design. In this case, the Zoom X juicer. It brings it into scale. So yeah, the juicer actually is that big. This is a great reason of why you'd want to use augmented reality, so you can understand to see if the product is fit for the intended environment. Use finger gestures to manipulate that model around and sure, take a screen capture for later collaboration. Okay, so that's Teamcenter Share, all about the next generation of cloud collaboration, helping you communicate with your colleagues internally, with your customers externally, with your suppliers, really accelerating decision making. And if you can't wait until later this summer 2020, good news, early access is open right now. So if you want to give your fingers a bit of exercise, you can type in the address that you see on screen, or if you're feeling a little lazy, just grab your phone. If you go into the camera app on your phone and hold it up next to that QR code that's in the center of the screen, it'll take you directly to that early access sign-up link. I've got to say that the spaces are limited here. It's first come, first served, but we'd love to have you along and check out this new app. All right, so that's enough from me. I am now excited to be able to pass over to PJ Tolentino from Rurik Industries, and we're going to hear from PJ about how they are going through their digital transformation journey. Over to you, PJ.
Hello everyone, my name is PJ. I'm one of the founders of Rurik Industries. We're a performance bike manufacturer. Welcome to my second favorite place in the world. This is my home garage. This is where I fix, maintain, build my bikes and my friends' bikes. And if you're like me, this is like absolute zen. There's something about working with our hands, with tools, focus on the bike that's in front of us. It's almost like meditation. And yeah, if it's not obvious enough, we admit it, yes, we have an unhealthy obsession with bikes. That's how everything started. We are so obsessed with bikes that we could just not stop thinking about it. We thought about what we liked, what we didn't like, how we think that our bikes back then could have been better. And this idea of what would make our bikes better grew so strong that we could not stop thinking about it. And then we thought, hey, I think we should build our own bikes. And up to this day, that remains to be the reason why we do what we do. We build bikes because we think we can make it better. We believe that bikes should get better just as the rider does. Looking back, we would have never been able to start Rurik had it not been for the digitalization tools that has been available to us. Back when we started, all we had was just an idea. And then from that idea, we used Solid Edge to turn that thing into a concrete model that the design team has been able to discuss and work on. Then we use simulation tools to test and validate that digital model, to test before fabrication. And then one of my favorite things, we took that digital model and brought it to our manufacturers and fabricators. And it was easy to translate these models into a final product. The culmination of all that work led us to our latest and greatest product, the Halcon. That's the bike behind me. With this bike, we took the make it better mantra to a whole new level. In mountain biking, we often encounter terrain that's super gnarly, very steep, very dangerous. And the whole point of this bike is to remove the limits of what the rider can do on a bike. This bike is built to own the mountain. And one way we're achieving that is by taking advantage of generative design. Generative design is really exciting for us because this marks the first time that a computer has contributed creatively to the design of our bikes. Not too long ago, CAD models were just like pen, paper, ruler for the designer. It's always been up to a human to determine what's the shape of the certain part, how thick it should be, how tight the radius should be. This time it's a lot different. So we want the halcon to be stiff, strong. So we let generative design everything for us. A human did not define the shape of the linkages on the halcon. A computer did, and because of that, we got a bike that's more stiffer, lighter, stronger, better than how a human could have ever done it. Within our team, we've always found that it's more effective for us to work remotely at our own time. Startups like us have been working from home before it was cool. Especially within our design team, as creative people, we work our best whenever and wherever inspiration hits us, and that comes randomly within our days. This means it's absolutely necessary for us as a team to take advantage of all the collaboration app that Oliver just shared a while ago. And to share with you how we're doing that, let's go to my actual favorite place in the world, which is out in the trails.
Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. The first time I visited this place, I thought it was all casinos. You'll actually see the very famous Las Vegas Strip right there in the background. Turns out there's a very big outdoor community here. There's so many hiking, mountain biking trails all around the area. So while I find myself here testing the halcon, the rest of the team is over at the Philippines. They should be waking up in a couple of hours. We've always found it to be more effective for us to work this way. We ride together out on the trails, and then after doing that, we do most of the work wherever we want to do it. Here's how we make that work. How it usually happens is that the test riders will be writing prototypes, and then we discuss all the online feedback that they have. We find that this collaboration app offers us a much more expressive and fluent communication tool. It's way easier to describe our ideas when we're able to look at the exact same thing in the CAD model and annotate it directly. It's so simple to use that we're even able to involve our race team into the discussion, even though they're not technically inclined and have never used any CAD software before. I really like the way the app renders our models. Zooming in and out is smooth, rotation is smooth. I was amazed that everything was happening inside the browser. So for example here, I note here that this ISCG tab is not clocked properly. It's tilted a little bit differently. So I zoom it in, I mark it up, I create a comment, and then I name it so that we can review it later. Then another thing I noticed, for example, that the lower link can be optimized further. I can pull that up with an exploded view. It's a really simple one slider process. It's very helpful for isolating parts inside assemblies, like this lower link. This is one of the parts that we use Generative Design to optimize. I can also pull measurements just to check if the prototype bike that I have here with me is within the dimensional specs of the model. I can quickly put in dimensions, radiuses, lengths of the links, etc. just to make sure that I have the correct one. So as I mark up my model with my comments here in Vegas using the app, the design team in the Philippines would be able to see the exact same comments and make the necessary changes in Solid Edge. This has been very useful as a single source of truth for all of us to work from. Any one of us in the testing can mark up and comment on the same project, and the design team uses the exact same file to work on the edits. We can even use Augmented Reality to really help us visualize our design. We have a network of suppliers and fabricators, both local and abroad, and the key to working with them is good communication. I can share the project with our fabricator, just put their email in there, and they will be accessed all the markups and the source CAD files. We use the markup feature of the app to tell the story of revision changes and to highlight important details. The app is cross-compatible with different CAD platforms. It shouldn't be a problem if our manufacturer is using NX, for example, and we're on Solid Edge.
Here we can see that our manufacturer can take the lower link CAD file directly from the project that we shared with them, and directly from there they can build the CNC machining toolpaths. So yeah, we're really excited about this app because we clearly see its potential. It fits our workflow perfectly. Before we had to use cloud services, take a screenshot, share it over chat. There's a lot of typing involved. There's so much back and forth between the designers and even with our suppliers. This app streamlined the whole collaboration process. It's a much more fluent and effective communication tool for all of us. So I'd like to emphasize the key ways this app collaboration tool brings us value. The first one is it enables us to work anywhere. Like I said, wherever inspiration hits us, we can quickly bring up the CAD models, look at it, write on it, do whatever you want with it. We are able to capture more ideas. Because it's a more fluent, expressive tool, we are able to get the ideas out of our heads, express it within their team, and we are able to talk about it a lot better. And ultimately, it's faster development time because we reduce errors, we are able to communicate quicker within ourselves and within our manufacturers. That's why the development time is so much shorter. 2019 was a really good year for Rurok. Our race team piloted this bike to the top spot in an enduro racing series back in the Philippines. For 2020, we keep working hard because we don't seem to be running out of ideas, and we want to keep doing what we love to do. And we thank Siemens for helping us make better bikes.
So thanks a bunch, PJ. That was awesome. It's great to hear how your company's implementing digital transformation to really change your business and disrupt an industry. So where can digital transformation take you? Digital transformation is more important than ever if you think about it. Right now, there's economic headwinds. It's a difficult situation for many companies. But this is the opportunity to embrace digital transformation, really make a change to your business right now. And really, the technologies we're offering to you provide an unprecedented opportunity to do so. When you look at next generation technology, whether that's synchronous technology or it's generative design or the whole portfolio of solid edge products, you can really transform your business through digital transformation. And finally, the companies that are doing this are really enjoying success. If you look at companies like WashTech that I talked about at the beginning, or Rurik Industries, they're really transforming their businesses and changing the industry through these technologies. So I invite you to start your digital transformation journey. Get started today. Well, how can you do that? What are some ways in which you can get started today? Let me give you a few suggestions. First, we talked about cloud collaboration. As I've said, it's a difficult environment, of course, but also businesses are very distributed these days. They're spread across the globe. There's people everywhere. A lot of work from home now. Well, cloud collaboration can help with that. And as Ali said earlier, get out your smartphone. You may not know this, but you can just basically hold up the camera part and hold it up to the QR code. It'll find it, and you can connect directly to the early access program. Or you can key in the link if you prefer that. But you can take advantage of cloud collaboration starting today, starting right now. Second, join the Solid Edge community. This is where you can share your expert knowledge, or you can learn from other users. Whether it's reading a blog to deepen your skills, asking a question and digging into the knowledge base, or even talking to other users or my team. You can engage in the community, you can ask questions, you can share your knowledge. And I think you'll be surprised how many people are ready to share their knowledge with you and make you even more productive as a Solid Edge user. And finally, save the date. And I mean this, write this down in your calendar. I know we get very busy and there's a lot to do, but the Solid Edge 2021 launch is coming up and it's going to be like no other. As you've heard from Laura, the beta customers are saying this is the best release in a very long time. So mark your calendar for July 15th, and please join us for the Solid Edge 2021 launch. So thanks for joining us today. I look forward to your digital transformation journey. And I hope you'll join us here for a Q&A. Please bring your questions and let's talk.